Not quite enough popping. That's what Nathaniel Hackett had to say as the guys got back out there after a day off for day 11 of Broncos training camp. Hello, and thank you for joining us for our daily recap. I'm Phil Milani, alongside Nick Ferguson and Aric DiLalla. Guys, Nathaniel Hackett said that it was better than last week after a day off, but not quite where he wanted it today.
Well, you have to figure a lot of these times when you're coming off a day off, guys are going to be chill, relaxed. They know they have a big game coming up this weekend, and then Dallas is coming in on Thursday. I can tell you right now, being a former player, that's on the mind of a lot of guys. Now, how can I survive this week, get to Thursday, and then get to that game and have a great performance? But it wasn't the popping that you wanted to see. But once again, they don't really have pads on, so.
Yeah, that's true. As a former player, what do you think, Aric?
Not that type of player, Phil. I think the focus was, again, better than it was a week ago, and you like to see the players respond, because what Nathaniel Hackett said was you can't do these jog-throughs if you don't then go out and respond the following day. So I did think they responded better. There were some big plays. The offense turned it on a little bit late. There were a few too many penalties, I thought, by the defense. A little bit of communication errors on the offense early on, but I do think when you compare it to last week, it was much better.
Maybe the play of the day was that Cortland Sutton grab at the end of practice there, ran off right into the locker room. So I like to see that, a little bit of fun out there. Talking about that preseason game, Nick, we heard where both offensive and defensive coordinators are going to be during the game. Do you have a preference for that?
And I like the offensive coordinator to be perched in the crow's nest, but the defensive coordinator, I want him on the field. It's because you want to have the pulse of your players, and you want to know when you have guys coming off, you'll be able to look into their eyes and see what's going on. I don't anticipate starters are going to play a lot in this game, so if you're a young player, you want to definitely make sure that the defensive coordinator is right there, hands-on, making those in-game adjustments to make sure that you can go out and execute. But there is something to being on the sideline, watching a guy, looking into his eyes and seeing as though if he's ready to play, or is his heart, as we say, is pumping Kool-Aid.
You want the Kool-Aid, right?
No. The Kool-Aid means that there's a bunch of fear. You want to make sure that you don't have Kool-Aid.
If you're pumping Kool-Aid,
yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Okay,
fear.
we don't want that. Okay, yes. Got it. All right, well, that's exactly what the Broncos are going to do. Justin Allen is going to be up in the box, said he might be drinking some hot cocoa later on in the season. Aric, I know you're a big fan of hot cocoa.
I love hot cocoa. Also love that he's up there to give a little bit of a bird's eye view for Nathaniel Hackett. I do think this game is particularly big for Ejiro Evero, just because he's never called plays in the NFL before. He's got to get a sense for how the operation goes on game day, who he's got in the box, are they giving him the information that he wants, building that play sheet. All of these things I don't think can be understated when you're talking about, is this defense going to be a top 5 unit, a top 10 unit? A lot of it comes down to, can Evero take that step as a play caller, handle those responsibilities? I do find it interesting he wants to be down on the field because, Nick, I know you mentioned connecting with the players, but year after year we heard Vic Fangio here say, gosh, the view's so much worse down there, I'd rather be in the booth at times. It sounds like it's no question for Ejiro Evero. He wants to be down there, wants to be with his guys. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it seemed like he was really adamant about that. And then for Justin Allen, not quite a big a deal because Hackett's going to be down there calling the plays. So more of just an assistant type of role on game day for those guys. The last thing I wanted to talk about here is just Thursday going against the Cowboys versus the game. If not that many starters play on Saturday, what do you expect Thursday to be like?
Well, I expect it to be something where the coaches have scripted something out. Here's how many reps we want from our starters. This is what we want to see, special categories, backed up, third down, red zone. Because once again, we're not expecting to see the starters a lot, but you definitely want to see them get their work here in practice against another team. And I can tell you, these guys are really excited knowing that the Cowboys are coming in here and they get a chance to face another team. And this is an opportunity for not just the veterans, but some of these younger guys to really show what they can actually do against someone else in another uniform.
Well, there's some pretty big matchups coming up, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not as worried about how the offense looks as a whole or how the defense looks as a whole because you haven't game planned for the Cowboys. You're not necessarily ready to go against this scheme, but the Cowboys have some talent, you know, whether it's seeing CeeDee Lamb go up against Pat Surtain, if it's one of the Broncos tackles, Garrett Bowles or Calvin Anderson right now, trying to block Micah Parsons, if it's trying to stop Zeke, if it's watching, you know, how do these linebackers handle Dak Prescott if he takes off. Those are all things that I'm interested in seeing. And so You know, if there's a big play by the Cowboys or the offense doesn't look quite in sync for the Broncos, I'm not going to fret that too much because I do think a lot of success as a whole comes from game planning and putting that plan in place. But the individual matchup should give you a sense of how good is Pat Surtain.
Yeah, it should be good just to see some new blood out there, and then also Saturday. It's kind of for real for some of those guys trying to win a job. The win-loss doesn't matter, but the play is for real, right, Nick?
Well, the play is for real, and I know when we look at these preseason games, the narrative is though, well, they don't really matter. Ask some of these guys who are trying to make the team. Ask Coach Stoops. It really matters to him because for the first time, he gets a chance to see Montreal Washington actually return a ball in a live game with contact right there in front of his face, and that's the proper way that you want to evaluate these players as a coach. Yeah. Everyone looks great in shells and shorts and T-shirts, but once you get out there and there's live bullets flying around, I mean, are you one of those guys who kind of sits back and you become a reserve guy, or you're a guy that surges forward and now you're trying to make plays? We get a chance to see all of that on Saturday.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. No Kool-Aid.
No Kool-Aid.
This is one time
No
you don't
Kool-Aid.
want Kool-Aid.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. That's going to do it for us. No Kool-Aid around here. For Aric DiLalla and Nick Ferguson, I'm Phil Milani. This has been our Daily Recap.